Good morning. Barry Bryson here. Thank you for joining me for another 5 Good Minutes with the Word. We're still in our family Bible class studios. Of course, we haven't had family Bible class for a while because we're back worshiping together. But we're having some camera issues, and so I'm using the camera in here. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate you being here. We're in the Gospel of Mark. We're in chapter 11, verse 27. This is the last week of Jesus' life. The population of Jerusalem has been swelled threefold, at least. And it is the time of Passover. It is the most highly charged time in the Jewish year, especially for the Romans, as they are trying to keep control of things as they are unfolding. And of course, it's not going to be very many years, 40, maybe not even 40 years before there is a rebellion and an open war in Jerusalem. The Romans will bring, thousands and thousands of troops to besiege the city of Jerusalem, and then they'll destroy Jerusalem. We know that. So this is all percolating at this time. And Jesus has basically taken over the town, or at least taken over the temple grounds when he cleansed the temple. And now he's back again walking around, this man who did this thing, and now he's back walking around like he owns the place. At least that's the way it seems to the chief priests who start to challenge his authority. Who gave you the authority to do these things? So let's start reading in verse 27, and we'll read through verse 33. He came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests and scribes and elders came to him and began saying to him, this is something they're repeating, began saying to him, by what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you this authority to do these things? And Jesus said to them, I will ask you one question, and you answer me, and then I will tell you by what authority I do these things. Was the baptism of John from heaven or from men? Answer me. And they began reasoning with one another, saying, if we say from heaven, he will say, then why did you not believe him? But if we say from men, they were afraid of the multitude, for they all considered John to have been a prophet indeed. And answering Jesus, they said, we don't know. And Jesus said to them, neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. Jesus isn't saying he doesn't know. He's just saying, I'm not going to tell you. Now, it's commonly practiced in the last 50 or so years to see Jesus in these next episodes, what happens on this day when he's being challenged in the temple. As Jesus is giving clever and elegant and evasive answers to the questions, but I don't see that at all. I see Jesus giving answers that would cause his questioner to answer their own questions. This is particularly true here. He didn't ask them this just to paint them in a corner. He asked them this because if they answer it truthfully and honestly, they will have answered their own question. They will know by what authority he has done these things, because John has called him the Lamb of God, has called him the Messiah from God. And so if they believe John's teaching, then they will believe him, and they'll know from what authority he does these things. It's kind of an interesting question. One of their own, Nicodemus, very early in Jesus' ministry in John chapter 3, comes to Jesus by night and says, good teacher, we know you are from God, because no one can do the things you do unless God has sent him. It's obvious that Jesus is a man with God-given ability, God-given power, that power that he has demonstrated constantly in all their villages, in front of their faces. In the city of Bethany, just prior to this, he raised Lazarus from the dead. A man had been in the tomb for 4 days. So it's kind of a silly question for them to ask, and yet ask they must, because Jesus has invaded their space, their private space. In terms of an exercise of power, to me, and you know, I've said this many, many times, the real miracle and the enduring miracle miracles which Jesus performs are the words that he speaks. And we're going to see this on display. We've seen him walk on water. We've seen him transfigured on the mountain. We've seen him raise the dead. We've seen him heal the sick. We've seen him do all these things. Feed thousands of people on multiple occasions from just scant resources. We've seen all these things through the words themselves, because we were not there, they were. But the words that Jesus speaks, those words which he speaks, those words which are there on the page, which exist as he said them, they're the real miracle. They're the real miracle that he performs, and I think we're going to see that, and this is a demonstration of it. Who in the moment answers this way? Not just this cleverly, but in such a way to cause your hostile questioner to ask himself, herself, the right question, a question they can answer, and a question which will then enlighten them to the truth. It's an amazing thing that he does and is going to be doing in the next few sessions as he deals with their questions. It's almost like watching someone exercise a superpower, because no one uses words the way Jesus uses words, and we'll see that on full display when we're together next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes.